Hello, today I thought I'd do something different and show you my Mail of the Anima EDH deck. So here's the commander in all their altered art glory. First up we have my Planeswalker suite, starting with Xenagos the Reveler, who mostly exists for his first ability for the mana, although the Satius can be nice. I don't think I've ever activated his ultimate. Similar story for Big Garrick. He is mostly a card draw spell, but the other things are nice. Then we've got a nice shiny Elspeth. She's a little bit out of place in the deck, but she's very pretty. Can't show the... well, yeah, there we go. Nice foil effect on that. Then we got Chad Gideon. Come at me, bro. And then we've got Little Garrick in his versus decks artwork. He's got a quite nice foil effect to him as well. And then we move on to my non-creature, non-ramp spells. So we have a quite nice full frame altered art Fisher with the flavor text by Plato of all people. It's a bit power crept by modern standards, but red creature destruction? Like, hello? The altar is done by a girl I used to work with. She did a couple of the cards in this deck, and they're quite nice. Then we have Seasons Past, which is another by the same girl, the full artwork. She did a very nice job on this one. It's quite pretty. Then we have a Savage Beating. It is very good for killing people in the face. It's also got a very nice foil effect. Look at that. Ooh, spoilers. Then we have my From the Vault 20 Green Sun Zenith. It's got a quite nice shiny foil effect. Yeah. It's also quite good for... I can do it for 0 and get a Dryad Arbor, which is nice. Then Miraculous Recovery. It's an interesting card. Instant speed reanimation. No one expects it. Then we've got my Commander's Arsenal Mirari's Wake. With its... okay. Yeah, there we go. Look at the foiling on that. Then we've got my FTV Annihilation Fracturing Gust with its shiny effect. Burrow's Charm. It's nothing special, but it gets the job done. I probably wouldn't get one of the more expensive versions of Burrow's Charm these days, although I might have at the time when I made the deck. It is very much an artifact of its time, this. Collective Blessing. For some nice huge buffs. Then we get on to my card draw and card filtration suites, excluding Big Eric. And Mirari's Guile, for a nice pseudo scry effect. It's quite nice when I get that on turn 1. I don't think I've ever played that on turn 1 and not won. A Bun Dance. It is quite a nice card. Then we have my Commander's Arsenal Sylvan Library with quite a nice foil effect on it. Then we have Premium Deck Undead, Premium Deck Reanimator Blazing Archon. Quite a nice foiling effect. Look at that shiny. Then Godsire. Look at that shine. It's a very pleasant foil effect on that one. Continuing the beasts in the deck, we have Spellbreaker Behemoth. Oh, if you couldn't tell, we're now into the section of creatures that Mayael can pull out of the deck with her ability. I don't think the abilities on Spellbreaker Behemoth have ever been relevant in a game, but he's nice to have nonetheless. Then we have the last of the beasts and the first of the sources of indestructible. He's got a quite nice foil effect on him as well. Then we have an Everson, of course. Then we have a Chroma Angel of Wrath with my favourite Chroma artwork. I'm not particularly a fan of the original Chroma. I don't know, I have no nostalgia for it, and like, I'm not into the style on it, I've got to be honest, of the original Chroma. I much prefer this one. The Angels versus Demons, or Demonic versus Divine Dual Decks Chroma. Then we have other Chroma with quite nice artwork by a quite terrible person who we're not going to mention. But the card is very pretty. And continuing the Angels, we have Gazela, Blade of Gold Knight. A very nice foil effect on her. It's a shame what happened to her and Sigarda in the story. There's the Sigarda. Yeah, it's a shame when the Eldrazi happened to them. There's the Kozilek. I can theoretically hardcast him, but it's never really come up. I don't think I've had a good game with him yet to really see how I feel about him in the deck. Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, because the deck needs more mana, of course. And Chimera, God of Harvests, with a nice foil effect. I think I'm reasonably sure that this is one of the foil that I actually pulled. There's a few of those, and I'm not gonna mention all of them, but that's all I've got to say about them. We've got Xenagod, who's part of a nice 2-card combo involving Novablast Worm. It is quite nice dropping Xenagos and then dropping Novablast Worm and attacking for 14/14 that blows up the world. It's quite a nice foil as well. Can I get him at an angle where you can actually see the foil? Oh, you can sort of a little bit there. And that is... Oh, that isn't actually all the worms. There's more to come. Here we have my From the Vault Dragons Rith the Awakener with his massive antlers. It's quite a pretty one. Hot take, I actually prefer this artwork to the other one. So that might not be a hot take. Then we have an Omnath. Again, he was a late addition to the deck. I don't think I've ever actually had a good game with him. That happens though. I mean, I've played the deck a bunch since I put him in, but he's just never come out. Then Green Warden of Marassa. Because Eternal Witness doesn't have 5 power. It's got a very nice foil effect on it. And talking of Eldrazi, Worldbreaker. For a bit of casual removal. Because the deck doesn't actually have Olamog. I've got an Olamog, but he's in a different deck. And Woodfall Primus for a bit more destruction. And destruction that actually triggers when I cheat it in with Mayael's ability as well. Then we got my super pretty Inferno Titan. With the, I believe this is the Jewels of the Planeswalkers promo foil. But it is by far the most pretty Inferno Titan. Look at that foiling. Then we got my Commander's Arsenal Dragonlair Spider. There's quite nice foil effects. The creature itself is quite underwhelming, but, you know, he's nice to have. Archetype of Endurance. Simple bit of protection. Then we've got Terrestodon with a fortune cookie flavor text added. Your lucky number 9 will keep your future fine. It's got quite a nice foil effect. It's another one from the premium reanimator deck. Cliff Runner Behemoth is kind of a basic card, but you know, sometimes it's nice to have. The lifelink is pretty nice sometimes. I mean, I could replace him with Baneslayer Angel and probably have a noted improvement. But, you know, it's nice to have a 4-drop. 1 4-drop. It's got a nice foil effect. Although I do have a From the Vault Angels, Baneslayer Angel that could go in here instead. World Spineworm. Just a big old worm. I once hardcast this guy on turn 6. That was a silly game. Very short game, but a silly game. And we have Elder Scale Worm. I thought I'd sorted only worms into one section, but apparently I accidentally split them up. Elder Scale Worm, the worm of 7 7s. It's just so much the number 7. Then we have Engulfing Slagworm from, I'd say probably my favourite set, Scars of Mirrodin. It was like the first big set that got released when I started playing the game. Well, not started playing, when I started owning cards from it. Rise of the Eldrazi had already been released when I started playing, and that was like the first sets that I played, but yeah, it had already released by the time I started caring, so I don't really count it. But Scars of Mirrodin, that was my first big one. And Engulfing Slagworm itself is quite nice, because it's like the firstest of strikes, the deathiest of touches, and overkill-proof lifelink. It is very nice. Then we have Wood Smelter Dragon. Started off the dragon section proper, because Rith apparently got mis-sorted. The nice bit of artifact removal. He's quite a nice dragon. Nice bit of targeted removal. Dragon Lord Dromakar. They're quite nice to have. big old flying life linker that stops people from messing with my turns. And we have a Flame Blast Dragon, because who doesn't want a nice big fireball on a dragon? I do have a foil Flame Blast Dragon, but he's in one of my other decks. We got the Scourge of Care Ridges, with a very nice foil effect on him. Look at that shine. And he's got some nice removal on him. And then we got Balefire Dragon. It's in a similar situation of the Scourge of Care Ridges, but it doesn't require the activation, but it does need to hit. This is actually my fourth take of this, for various reasons. Molten Primordial, because the green Primordial is banned. It does have a nice foil effect. But I mean, to be honest, Primetime and the green Sylvan Primordial, is it? Kind of silly. Then we got Fertilid. Starting off, I believe this is starting my ramp section. Certainly starting creatures that can't be brought in with mail. It's got a quite nice foil effect on it. And it can also have some nice political uses to give other people lands. And in a team game, it can save a teammate who's struggling with lands. Same with Dryad Arbor. I can give someone a forest. The Forest Walk Park, I think, has been relevant once, but mostly it's a nice way to get a forest, me or a teammate. Knight of the Reliquary. She's just quite good. She can get some. She's quite good at like emptying my deck of lands when I don't need any more. Then we got a nice shiny foil Reaping Sow. Look at that foil effect. It's only a casual bit of land destruction, although games where you manage to entwine this on someone, it's usually set in stone at that point where that game's going. The tempo, the tempo difference you get from that. Tempted Discovery. It says this might be the only card in the deck from a supplemental set. So if someone actually wants to start that no supplemental sets commander format, then I can quite easily adapt to that. Boundless Realms. Casting this on turn 5 is what let me get Worldspine Worm on turn 6. And it's got quite a nice foil effect. Look at that foil. Then we've got Hunting Wilds. I think I've only kicked this once. The untap is nice, but then becoming creatures is a bit of a liability. And like, you may notice a theme with the majority of my ramp is they've either got a dual purpose or they fetch me 2 lands, like Exploding Vegetables, which is quite a nice foil, classic foil. So we always found it interesting with these older cards that the foil effect basically only affects the frame, like the text box and the artwork are entirely untouched, which is quite interesting to look at. Same with my Sky Shroud Claim, which is also a nice shiny foil. Then we come to my lands. Got the most expensive Evolving Wilds ever. It's got a nice unique artwork. It's got a nice foil effect. Then we got nice shiny Terramorphic Expanse, which I believe I pulled from when I got a box of Modern Masters many years ago. And then we got my Judge Foil Thorin Glaciers, which is very pretty, and it's got a nice shine to it. I should have got more Thorin Glaciers while they were affordable, because it's a very nice card to have, but it's also very expensive. Terminally underprinted card at this point. Crows and Verge, because at the time I preferred the newer frame to the older frame Crows and Verge. Then we got a Mountain Valley. This is kind of an odd one out in my in the ramp that I've gotten. Sorry, not in the ramp, in the fetch lands I've got on here. It's like the only one that's worth next to nothing. Or doesn't have a version that's worth something. Verdant Catacombs. Oh yeah, if you haven't noticed, we're now onto the fetch lands of the deck. My classic Wooded Foothills. Very nice Raymond Swanland's Arid Mesa. Then my Flooded Strand. My classic Windswept Heath. The deck's got 40 lands in and 10 of them are fetch lands, and I find that's a nice proportion, because it means you're very likely to get a lot of lands early game and then stop getting them later game when you don't need them. Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion. It's quite a nice workhorse card, that. Bit of double strike goes a long way. Then we have my From the Vault 20 Kessig Wolf Run with its nice shiny foil effects. Got a Rogue's Passage. Nice Gavany Township. I did like Innistrad as a set. Slayer's Stronghold. Not the most impressive lands, but it gets the job done. I actually won a pre-release of Innistrad and won a booster box that contains 3 Snapcaster Mages. That was a good day. We come to my ridiculously shiny basics with their custom full art foil treatments. These cost me way too much money. They are quite nice. I've got 4 of each basic in the deck for the ramp effects, and that works out generally at a good number. If I get off Boundless Realms, it usually clears my deck of basics just about. And this one reminds me of that is it Guiltleaf Stag or something from Zendikar? The Landfall Elk. The one that gains you 2 life on landfall. I only ever remember that one because of the Jewels of the Planeswalkers deck. The Jewels of the Planeswalker 2012, where it's in like a bunch of the decks. Then we got the Lost of the Forests. Before we move on to my mountains. This is probably the best of the mountains in for being able to actually see it on camera. The others, like this one's a bit dark. All you can actually see is the dirt on the sleeve. And the same with this one. I think I saw the artwork that was used on one of those 2 mountains on a proxy for a Badlands at one point. There's the last of the mountains. Just got quite a nice sky on that one. Can I show off the foiling? Vaguely. Then we have Windbrisk Heights, the From the Vault Realms, I believe it is. A nice foil effect. A Mosswort Bridge. It's just a generic Mosswort Bridge, but it's quite nice. And then those of you who can do pattern recognition might think I'm going to show you the red one next, but it's not in here because I found it almost impossible to activate, and also I didn't actually need that much red in the deck. So instead, we have a Dryad Arbor, who has got quite a nice foil effect, and is quite useful for a target for Green Sun Zenith for 0. The From the Vault Realms again. Then we have a Stirring Wildwood. The full art, the full frame art on this is not by my old colleague. I got this one online, along with Raging Ravine, which has got a bit of an overzealous text box overlap, but it doesn't get rid of anything important. It just removes the words "It's still a land" from the bottom line, which, like, yeah. Then we have Cinderglade. At the time when I made the deck, there weren't very many options for non-basics with basic land types. And I don't know if they're a complete cycle now, but they weren't at the time, so we just have the two, Cinderglade and Canopy Vista. Then, of course, we come to the Shocklands. We have Original Stomping Ground, my Return to Ravnica Sacred Foundry, well, Return to Ravnica block, my actual Return to Ravnica Temple Garden, and then finally we come to my Altered Art Savannah, with the altar done by the girl I used to work with. She did a very nice job on this one. Look at that. She didn't sign it though, which is a little weird, but you know, it's a very nice card nonetheless. And like the original jewel lands just don't look very good, like the white frame, the everything else. And yeah, I think this massively improves the aesthetic of the card. And then continuing the cycle, we have the Tiaga, which she actually signed, and I think looks very nice. It's like the text boxes are just full of word soup for a thing that can be, I mean, like the Oracle text is just nothing, literally nothing. It's all done in the typeline. And these are the and this is my favorite Plateau artwork, and it only existed in that one set. And again, she did a nice job on that one. And the symbols are the dual mana symbols from Magic Set and edited the Xander mana, or whatever it's called. But they do look quite nice. And yeah, like with the original jewels, I don't think they look very nice. And these days, with everything that's going on, I just proxy them. That's my other. I've got 4 original jewel lands, and I was gonna have a reprint this one as well, but she left the company just beforehand, so I never actually got a chance to ask her to do it, which is a shame. So I'll probably go in one of my other decks that has been sat around for the best part of 10 years in a top load and not being used. Yeah, when they announced Magic 30, I ended up buying two cycles of original dual land proxies with some nice artwork on. It's like If they're going to sell us overpriced proxies, then obviously they're fine with us buying proxies. So I'm just going to proxy the dual lands that they refuse to reprint properly. And have them actually look nice. Anyway, yeah. Going back to the deck. At the time when I made this, there was a optional sideboard rule for Commander, which I think they've dropped all reference to on the website now, but it used to be 10 card sideboard, and after commanders are announced, you could sideboard, and that's like the only time that you're allowed to sideboard. And I've never actually used any of the cards on it. Well, one of them might have been removed from the deck at some point, but it's more of a bullshit board / threats board. Like, if you're gonna bring your bullshit, I'm gonna bring mine. Like, Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, the other Kozilek, the old Kozilek. Because no one likes playing against Annihilator. Like, it's an amazingly powerful mechanic, but it's so painful to play against. Then Platinum Empyrean, who, to be fair, I could swap Elder Scale Worm with directly, because I actually kind of prefer Platinum Empyrean to Elder Scale Worm. Just like I have quite a bit of nostalgia for Platinum Imperium, because as I mentioned, I quite like Scars of Mirrodin, and the Elder Scale Worm. I was just some big dude in a core set that I got. Then we have Admonition Angel, who is quite nice Oblivion Ring on a stick. It's quite painful to play against though, although if they do get rid of it, then you suddenly go back quite a bit. And then we got a very nice shiny Angelic Arbiter with a frankly glorious foil effect on it. Then we have Serra Avatar. It's just a big old beat stick, and also it has massive power when it's in the deck as well, which is quite nice. Then we have the unused third item in the Indestructible suite. This one, it's a well-played card. I think I've got it off. I think I got it off a friend who actually played with their cards unsleeved. I know, gasp. So those black specks that you can see on the artwork, that is actual dirt. I should like try and clean it at some point. But yeah, she's quite a bit weaker than the others. Like 2 mana for Indestructible and doesn't come with Indestructible. That's quite a big deal, and that's why she's sitting on the sideboard buffet. You know, if they're coming in with a just blow up the world all the time deck, then I might want a third. And then we've got Beguardian Hellkite with the Knights versus Dragons dual deck foil with the alternate Wayne Reynolds artwork. It's quite a pretty card. Ooh, can I show off the foiling on this? It's kind of hard to see. It's a bit of a power crept card these days, but it's quite nice to have around. Then we got Vitaka Worldrender, who is sitting there wanting to go in the deck, but I'm not sure the deck's got critical mass of dragons for it to be good on its own, other than the part where it hits for 12. It'd be nice if it had it on the block as well, but, you know, apparently dragons like to hit face. Then we've got Areshan Sovereign, who doesn't do a lot, but is I thought, like, if it dies and I've still got mail around, I can guaranteed pull it back, but it's not in because it doesn't actually do a lot, but there are others in the deck that don't do a lot, so it could, but... And then finally we've got Mayael's Aria, which I feel like I should have around for, like, you know, reasons, but isn't, because who likes alternate win cons, and it is a reasonably easy win con to activate in this deck. And yeah, that was my Mayael of the Anima EDH deck. I'll probably do, I've got like 20 odd EDH decks, so I'll probably do this again. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Thanks for watching. Mother, wake up, camera.